Hello, today I'm going to show you how work here, edit column, is calculated according to calendars, particularly resource calendar. So let me show you my resources here, view, resource sheet. I have John. He is 100% available, Mary 50% maximum available, and developers 500% available. Let me put John, for example, as a 100% available. I will assign resource and I will say John is 100. I can just leave it, these units as is, and it will be 100. Okay. Now let's go to Mary and let's say that Mary is also available, and I assign her to the task because she's maximum units were and is 50%, automatically Microsoft Project will assign her with 50%. But here developers, if I click on developers, they will be assigned with 100%. But I want to put, let's say, 200% for them. Okay, assign. Close. Now work. Let's go. John is supposed to work 8 hours per day. Okay, that is his maximum availability. And since he is assigned to a task with 100%, it means that he will work 8 hours per day, each and every day. So 5 days means 40 hours. On the other hand, Mary, she is assigned with 50%. So she's total availability, total amount of work is 8 hours according to her calendar, like John is. But she is supposed to work 50%, and that means that she is going to work 4 hours per day, and 5 days multiplied by 4 hours per day results in 20 hours. And developers there can work 8 hours per day, but according to their calendar, but I assign them 200%. It means that they will work 16 hours per day, so in total 80 hours per day. Let me show you 80 hours in total. Let me show you here in view in task usage. So if I scroll to the task, okay, you will see John is going to work 8 hours per day, Mary 4 hours per day, and developers 16 hours per day. But be aware that this is not something which will happen automatically. I will close timeline. Okay, so where those 8 hours coming from? Why 8 hours is supposed to be 100%, 4 hours are supposed to be 50%, and 16 hours are supposed to be 200%. For that, I will change resource calendar and I will show what does it mean if I assign them on the same way. I'm back to my Gantt chart and I erased all assigned resources, so work is 0. We are at the very beginning. Let's go to resource sheet here in view, resource sheet, and I'm going to jump to John. I'm going to choose project tab. I'm going to change working time. Here I'm going to use work weeks, details, and I will see that John is assigned from Monday to Friday. John has availability from Monday to Friday from 8 to 12 and from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. That means that is his calendar. So that is why when I put John to the task, when I assign him to a task, and I say, okay, he will work 100%. Microsoft Project will calculate that 100% per day is from 8 to 12 and from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And that means that is 8 hours. So it will calculate 5 days multiplied by 8 hours are 40 hours. On the other hand, when I put Mary with 50%, and she has the same calendar, Microsoft Project will say, okay, Mary is going to work 5 days multiplied by 8 hours, but 50% of that. So 5 days, 4 hours per day, it is 20 hours. And when I put developers with 200%, it will calculate 5 days multiplied by 8 hours per day by twice, because 200% is 16 hours per day. And that means that they will work in 5 days, 80 hours. Now, what if I choose that John will work only, I'm going to click set days to this specific, working times from 8 to 12. Okay, and I hit OK. And I go to Mary. Microsoft Project will ask me, do I want to save that changed calendar for John? I will say yes. And I am now going to change Mary's calendar on the same way like I did for John, from Monday to Friday, from 8 to 12. Great. Now developers, once again, do I want to save Mary's calendar? Yes, I do. From Monday to Friday for developers, for Friday from 8 to 12. So now see what will happen when I assign John to his task with 100%. I'm going to choose John's task. I'm going to choose resource, and I'm going to assign resource. 5 days. Here you will see 5 days from Monday to Friday. Remember, from 30th of May till 3rd of June. And I'm going to assign John with 100%. When I click assign and close, you will see that John is going to work 40 hours. But those 40 hours, how is it so? You can expect that John should work only 20 hours. And you can get that, but when you use Microsoft Project as is, default, if you didn't make any changes, which I'm going to explain in some of my next videos, then in that case, you will have calculation 5 days. And 5 days means, what is 5 days? 5 days means 5 days here, file, options, schedule, and hours per day is 8. So here, 1 day is 8 hours. So it means that John should work 40 hours. But since he's going to work only 4 hours per day, and we can see that here in task usage, he should fulfill those 40 hours in 10 calendar days. The duration is still 5 days. Why? Because 1 day is 8 hours. So this is 1 day, this is 2 day, second day, this is third day. Now fourth, fifth day. So basically, John should work 80 hours because 1 day is 8 hours. How I know that? Because here is 5 days, file, option, schedule, and you will see that 1 day is 8 hours. Okay, let me give you example with Mary. Okay, now Mary, I will now put Mary as a resource on her task. Okay, assign resources, and I will say Mary with 50%. Now what will happen here? Mary is supposed to work 5 days. Okay, 5 days means 5 days multiplied by 8 hours is 40 hours, multiplied by 50%. Because Mary is assigned 50% means that Mary should work 50% per day, and 50% per day is 4 hours. But since she is working from 8 to 12, she's supposed to work 2 hours per day. What does it mean? That the total work is calculated 5 days multiple by 8 hours, file option schedule. It is 40 hours in total. Multiple by this assignment, 50%, is 20 hours. Okay, so 5 days multiplied by 8 hours is 40 hours, multiplied by 50% is 20 hours. But since she is working only 4 hours per day, and she is assigned with 50%, she's supposed to work only 50% of her available time, and her available time is from 8 to 12. 50% of that is 2 hours, not 4. So she is going to work 2 hours at Monday, 2 hours at Tuesday, 2 hours at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the same thing next week. So basically, she will fulfill her work as John in the same period, but she needs only 20 hours. Why? Because she is assigned with 50%. And last but not least, let us assign developers with 200 units. What will get here? Okay, 200 means 5 days multiple by 8 hours here. Okay, sorry, here is 40 hours, but those 40 hours are going to be multiplied by 2 because 200% means 80 hours. But since they are working only 4 hours per day per resource, 100% means 4 hours per day from 8 to 12, and the second resource, 200%, means that 2 of them are going to work from 8 to 12. It means that they are going to work together 8 hours per day. And since they are going to work 8 hours per day, and they should fulfill 80 hours, they are going to work as John and Mary from 30th of May to 10th of June. Okay, maybe this looks complicated. So now I'm going to repeat the same thing with the same calendars, but duration will be 1 day. So let me show you that. Okay. John is supposed to work 100% 1 day. Okay. 1 day is 8 hours. So we have here schedule, which is 1 day, file, option, schedule. 1 day is 8 hours. So 100% is 8 hours. If he has in calendar that he is going to work from 8 to 12 to noon, and from noon, and from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., it means that he is available to work 8 hours per day, and that is his 100%. But since he is not, let's go here back and repeat once more that John is available. Okay, here, project, change working time, work weeks, details, John from Monday to Friday from 8 to 12, and Mary as well, and developers as well. It means, sorry, I'm going to use task usage once again. It means that John should work 8 hours to fulfill his work, to finish his work, but he is going to spend those 8 hours at 4 hours at Monday, at 4 hours at Tuesday. Why? Because he's working from 8 to 12. On the other hand, Mary is assigned with 50%. And 50% means that the total work of 1 day is 50% of these 8 hours, because 1 day is 8 hours. So Mary should work only 4 hours. But since she's available as John is from 8 to 12, but she's going to work only 50%, it means that she is going to work 50% of those 4 hours per day, which means that is 2 hours, which means that she is going to work two hours at Monday and 2 hours at Tuesday. And last but not least, developers. One day is 8 hours, once again. But since they are going to work 200%, and those 200% means that one day is 8 hours multiplied by 2, they should work 16 hours. But since they are working only from 8 to 12, and it means that they are going to work 8 hours per day, you can ask yourself, how is it possible that they are going to work only from 8 to 12, from 8 to noon, but that is only 4 hours and not 8? This is because we assigned 200% for that task. Developers are 200% assigned here with 200%, which means that you can think of this like you have two persons, like developer 1 and developer 2. Okay, like we have two developers, like we have two Johns, John 1 and John 2. But we have only one generic resources, and they are going to work 4 hours per day each, which in total means 8 hours, and they are going to fulfill those 16 hours in 2 days. I know that is complicated, but this is just the scratch. In my next video, I'm going to go further with overallocation, etc., etc. And in the next couple of weeks, I will cover this matter very deeply, because if you think that this is complicated, you will see how complicated can it be, and I will go step by step, and I will try to explain those complications and the logic behind the Microsoft project. I hope this video, even if it is complicated, clear a picture at least a little, and I wish you a pleasant rest of the day.